Right, we're recording again. We got it on video either way, so
yeah, we can overlay. Honestly, we can overlay. We'll look at it because the audio
I can still pull the audio from the camera. It's just not going to be as good.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like this makes it sound super professional.
Yeah,
like
so much better.
All the stuff that we talked is still recorded. It's just going to be like on that microphone for 3 feet away type deal.
Yeah.
All right, we're recording on there. We are recording on the camera. All right, I guess we'll start it over. Fucking A.
All right, is it good to go?
Yeah, it's good to go.
So should we what should we do? Should we just run that first half on that, or do you want to?
Do you want to just do it all over again, just to be safe?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything? I mean, this is like the time, like when you're like, damn, I should have said this, or I should have asked them this.
Yeah. No, I really. Right. I mean, we can introduce him correctly. It's all good there. You want to start it over there?
By the way.
All right. It's
Even house.
Even house. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Everybody and their mother says Evan House, so don't feel bad.
Right,
gotcha.
So, recording on here and recording on here. All right, we're good.
You're good for real, for real?
Yeah, for real.
Okay. All right.
It's still $500.
Okay. Okay. What's up, guys? So we had some technical difficulties with our recording audio machinery, but we're gonna give it a PowerPoint bullet point, good try again.
No refunds.
Guys, no refunds. Right. All right, guys. So back to another episode of Unpacking Yak, and we're here with the owner, the designer, the bait builder, everything, Mike Evenhouse of Hill Country Swimbaits, guys. So we're going to go over, who he was before he started making baits, what got him into fishing, how he transitioned into making baits, and then, of course, all the stuff that's out now that's available for purchase. I believe you said you got a new drop coming soon, or a drop that's coming soon.
Yeah, probably next weekend.
Next weekend, boom. So we'll try to get it edited and put out before then. So, all right, Mike, I know we've already talked about this, but let's just do like a quick, brief, overview, because we've got we had some issues. So where exactly are you from? Because I didn't really get the, where are you born and raised at?
So I grew up on the south side of Chicago.
Okay.
And lived there until 2014.
Okay.
And moved to Texas in 2014.
Nice.
Beginning of 2014.
Okay. And you moved down here because you said your wife moved down here with her family before.
Yes.
Gotcha. And were y'all dating before she left, or were y'all,
no, she came back a lot. So
okay, cool. And y'all met like in high school.
We dated before, but
gotcha.
It was never wasn't the right time in our lives.
Gotcha. And then you're like, you know what? I'm moving to Texas because you were tired of the crazy weather.
Dude, it was -30 and 2 foot of snow 2 weeks before I left. And it remained that temperature and every day until I left. And when I left Chicago, it was -30. When I got to the border of Texas, I was basically naked in my car.
Nice. Because you basically went from -30 to 30 Celsius. Right. Again, and we talked about it the first time we ran through this, is you pick your poison, right? You're either 107 for 30 days in a row, or -30 with 2 feet of snow. And you said that you'd choose Texas still because you don't have to shovel the heat.
Yeah. Not only that, you can fish year round.
Right? Oh.
You don't have to dig a hole to go fish.
Gotcha. So I guess, again, since we get to redo this, Cubs or White Sox?
White Sox.
Yes, sir, right? Southside Chicago. I mean, they're having a tough couple years. I'm a Yankees fan. We suck this year. Judge was out for several months. I'm a huge baseball guy. Anderson's having a year, right? Got knocked out, hasn't hit a home run since the cornfield game. It's just been tough. Hasn't worked out.
It's been real tough. I love baseball in general. So my wife's a Cubs fan.
Ooh, how's that? A house divided.
You know what? I was super excited to see him win a World Series. Mm-hmm. It was just an exciting time just for Chicago in general.
It was 2016, right?
2016.
Gotcha. Yeah. I was in Vegas for SEMA when that happened. I remember we were leaving dinner, and I was like, I got to see this, Samantha. It's been 100 fucking years. Yeah. I got to see this. I remember it's like a ground ball to either the shortstop or the second baseman, throw over to first, and boom, game over. So, man, like I said, big baseball guy. If it's not fishing, it's baseball. It's what I like. It's what I grew up doing, and I know you said you were a baseball guy. Yep. So I kind of liking the flow and the vibe of this one better anyway. So let's keep it moving. So you come down here in 2014. You say you live west side of San Antonio. And when did you start getting into fishing down here? You had mentioned previously that you ran into
A buddy on a forum, and pretty
Do you
much
remember the
asked
forum?
him. I want to say it was San Antonio Fishing Forum.
Nice.
So, and obviously it's one of the first things you look up in a Google search. You know what I mean? It's fishing San Antonio. What's going to come up?
Yeah. Bronig, Calaveras.
A lot of that. It's
Downtown.
Like, okay, it doesn't really do anything for me.
Not what I'm looking for.
Especially coming from up north. I didn't even know what a freaking redfish was. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice. Yeah, because God, Lee, you literally moved to like a different planet.
Yeah.
From a
pretty much.
different planet.
Yeah. 100%.
So what would you say his name was? Your
Alex,
friend.
Alex Ramirez.
Gotcha. And then he introduced you to kayaking?
Yep.
Okay.
Kayak bass fishing.
Awesome. And that first time you got out there, you said was the Cibolo Creek.
Yep.
Nice. Now it's all
time.
full of trash and needles and this, that, the other. But there's still fish there, I'm sure.
Right.
I think we've all fished it. I think I've taken Roland there. I think I've taken, plenty of friends there. And you said that so you started fishing the creek, and then when did you transition into rivers, and what river, if you remember?
Basically, you just get sick of fishing the same spot. You gotta mix it up. If they constantly seeing the same lures, it's just gonna kill a fishery.
Yeah, for sure.
At least for you, for fishing that.
Yeah.
You gotta have multiple spots and hit them
different times
Yeah,
a year,
different
so on.
times,
And where'd y'all branch out from there? Because I didn't really get to ask this the first run around.
branch out as in
Where'd y'all go next from Cibolo?
basically the closest river to my house, which was Medina.
Medina
the far
River.
west side. You think of the Medina River.
Yes, sir. Awesome, cool. And then that I like that river because it has hill country beginnings, and then it transitions into like, Medina River, Southside San Antonio,
Yep.
completely different than the hill country.
Completely. Yeah, the fishing kind of dies off when you get down there too.
Gotcha.
You could still get them, but
It's just
you
different.
fish that section.
Yeah. You've got to change it up.
Yeah.
You got to change conventional to maybe something else, or go back to conventional from throwing swimbaits. It's just different. Different parts of Texas have different types of fisheries, and the forage and the way they eat and stuff like that is different. So you started getting into that. I did ask you, because this is a kayaking based fishing podcast. What was your first kayak that you ever had?
An ocean drifter.
Ocean drifter. You said it was like a bathtub.
It's a bathtub. You're constantly sitting in water.
Nice. So then after you got out of that tub, what'd you move into?
OG Coosa, actually.
Nice.
So small, dude. I liked it, but I'm a little bit bigger, so eventually I went over to the HD.
Gotcha. So you're in the Coosa HD now.
Yeah.
And that's what you ride. You're happy with it. All that good stuff. That's awesome. Do you still fish with Alex?
Actually, Alex passed away.
Oh
a
my
year and a
God,
half
man.
ago, so.
Dude, I did not, man. I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah,
Sorry for your loss, dude.
It sucks. But
I mean, that guy brought you into what we're doing now.
yeah.
I mean, he definitely did some good, dude.
For
Helping
sure.
you out and getting you into this.
For sure.
I'm sorry to hear that, but
It
again,
sucks.
I'm glad we got to redo it, because I'm finding out more about you. So that's awesome. So he passed away, unfortunately, and then you started linking up with a different guy. So who did you? And I know y'all probably fished before together with all of them. When did you start meeting up with the other guy that's part owner of Hill Country Swimbaits?
Cody, about 2018, we started fishing together, and we hit it off pretty well.
Gotcha. Just similar interests.
Very similar. You know, we both like to hunt. We both like to kayak fish.
Gotcha. You said that
So-
you mentioned on the first time that it's hard to find somebody that does the physical aspect of kayak
It's
fishing.
so hard. No one wants to drag 6 miles down a river.
But sometimes you got to.
You got to.
And
And
when
when
you
those good holes, man.
And you find that guy that's willing to do it with you, makes it all worth it.
I'm all about good holes.
Right? Yes, sir.
I was waiting for that.
Nice. So you meet up with Cody in 2018. You and I have had run-ins on the water all over Texas, to be
Yeah.
exact, right? So it's just funny, man. You kind of you said that you had seen some of our videos back when we were making videos more prevalently on YouTube, and we just had Manny B on the last pod, and I know that you know Manny, and we've all run into each other on the water. And go ahead and tell me that story again about what really got you into like psyched out about swimbait fishing.
So me and Cody, we decided that we were going to try a new river. It was a hill country river. And he was throwing a topwater 316. I want to say it was the gill. About a 6-inch bait, 6-7-inch bait. And it was just a great floater, great swim on the top of the water. And this 6-pounder just come up and hammered it. Just this 6.5, 7-inch bait just gone. And you seeing that fish, and it's like, okay, the second I got home, I started carving.
Nice. So, dude, so one fish changed your outlook on fishing.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
You were like, that's it. I'm
Dude,
going.
it had everything to do with it too. That the way it was fished, the way it swam, the way the fish ate it.
Yeah,
the
the
eat was just sick.
The eat's insane. The eat's that drug.
Yeah, especially when you could see 20 foot down.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That just makes it all the better because you could see the fish the whole time while it's, dude, it's going Mach 5 at this bait.
Oh yeah, yeah. When you see a big girl fully commit to a bait, dude, it's the best feeling ever. There's not 100%. I mean, man, it's just it's indescribable. You have to do it. And then you're like, okay, I get it. It changed your life so much you went and made a whole company out of it.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
So you said, what was the first bait you went in there and carved, and what happened with that one?
It looked like a penis.
Mm-hmm. A 4-piece penis?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Not only that, it looked a lot like a buka shad, and I just...
Yeah, you were like...
You can't put something out there that looks...
And at that point, I mean, you might not even been thinking about trying to sell it, I'm sure.
I wasn't
You were
at all.
thinking about trying to get bid on a bait you made.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool.
But even then, it's like, I don't want to... You hold it up to the camera, and it's like, oh, that's a bull shad cop. You can't do that.
Yeah, that's a big stigma in the swim bait world, especially for guys like us that, are fully invested in it. And then what was your next template that you had to, go back to the drawing board because it looked too similar to a bait on the market / a penis? What was your next design?
This big gill.
And you
it was
said
a lot bigger than I wanted it to be. But
and you said it was a 3-piece versus like a glide?
Yeah.
Did you ever make a glide of it?
Of this one?
Yes,
I have
sir.
not.
No, gotcha. But that one was supposed to be like a 3-piece wake. You were basically trying to imitate that bite. You wanted like a big wake bait.
I wanted a floater pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
We made it a slow sink too, but it didn't get bit near as much as the floater got bit.
Gotcha. So the floater is just that it just looked like a dying big easy meal.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's what you were trying to replicate.
Yep.
Nice. And then after that one, were you thinking, hey, I'm going to make a company out of this? Or what? Was it Cody that had mentioned it or pitched the idea?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So both Cody and my dad were like, hey, we should sell a few of these. It could pay for some of our fishing gear. Mm-hmm. Because fishing gear is expensive, man.
Right? That's everybody's driving factor, at least our friends group, is that, dude, if we could get sponsored and not have to pay for things, or like if we could get a good deal on things, and it helps that business out, but it also helps our wallet out. Dude, it's funny, right? It's like everybody's...
It's a win-win for everybody.
Yes, sir. And that's just something that I've seen. It's like a common theme in the fishing world is if you can find a way to... Because that's one of the big things we mentioned on this podcast is fishing in general is gatekept by price, So
100%.
If you could figure out a way to, alleviate the cost or help yourself out in that manner, it can be a win-win for everybody. So they pitched the idea. Let's make a couple of these. Let's sell them. And then was that just the only bait that you had on the market, or what was something?
Yeah, for a little bit.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
so that was like the only bait y'all sold.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
couple months actually. I want to say 4 to 6 months probably.
Okay. And how was that? Like, was able to buy new material? I mean, were you turning a profit, or was it really just to try to push the business on to the next month?
It kind of just kept going. Like,
gotcha.
We didn't really try. It kept going, and we're like, okay, let's make a company out of it. Mm-hmm. If we don't make any money, we don't make any money. Just enough to cover taxes, and we went legit, and I made another bait.
Nice. And then I know we talked about this on our first, run of this pod, but obviously, guys, everybody that I've, that I want to have on the podcast and that I know just in fishing in general, we're all, living multiple lives. You've got a full-time job, a family, a wife, children. Same with I. What do you do for a living?
I work for Metro Auto Recyclers selling used parts.
Gotcha. And again, we had a whole back and forth on it, and it was a good banter. You sell car parts for your uncle, correct?
Yeah.
Online. Nice. Yep. And strictly commission based, and that's kind of a driving factor in being a hustler and, making baits to make money, right? Awesome, dude. And that's freaking awesome. That's like, again, when I said the last time, that is like a perk of being alive in today's world, that you can, like you were saying, sit in your underwear, sell car parts.
That's awesome.
And then, just move to the garage to take money on your hobby, right? Yep. Awesome. So you were pushing the company along month by month, and what was the next bait that you were able to make?
It was this one right here. I wanted something smaller, something that could get bit even when the times were tough. Because obviously, you know, swim bait fishing, either they're on a swim bait or they're not.
Yeah, they're either going to bite it or they don't.
Yeah. But with a little bit smaller size, you might get some stubborn ones to commit a little bit easier. But and you know, you want some versatility in all your baits too.
Nice.
So,
and what was that one called?
this is the Medina. That's the beginning of the Medina.
Gotcha. So this is like the prototype, the beginning of the Medina Mini Glide.
Yep.
Gotcha. And the final rendition of it
But
is
before that, it was actually a 3-piece.
gotcha, like a multi-joint.
Yeah, a multi-joint. And we went to a couple of rivers and just killed it with it. Nothing big or anything like that, but
It just
that
got big.
thing just got munched all day long.
And what's the final design of this?
The final design is more of the, and actually it's a crank down too, but we had Roe do a facelift on it.
Gotcha.
So wanted to change a few things in the face, get some air bubbles out of there.
Gotcha. Yeah, it looks like the gill design on this prototype is a little more like even.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And this looks a little bit more elongated. And then just, man, the final product from the beginning is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So you moved and transitioned into a smaller profile, multi-joint Medina Mini Glide. And how did that do for y'all?
Great.
Great.
So at first when the Mini Glide came out, it was okay. It sold, but it wasn't selling like any of the other baits. But I feel like a lot of people weren't fishing it.
Gotcha.
And then it just kept getting better. And then once it got extremely stable, then you know you got it in the right people's hands. And you know Johnny Ellis got a couple 8-9 pounders on it.
Who is? I'm glad you brought him up. Who is that guy? I know his like Facebook profile is not.
That's a sharp name, Johnny Ellis.
Johnny
It's
Ellis,
like a 1950s, 60s name.
Like, is that his real name? Is he a Facebook facade? Like, I see his profile picture is like not a picture of him. It's like sometimes Roland will throw like a guy on the internet that looks like him as his profile picture. What's up with that guy?
He's been around for a while on Swimbait Universe. And
Okay.
He's a heck of a fisherman.
And where's he based out of?
I want to say North Carolina, that area.
Okay. And how'd you get in touch with him?
Actually, he got one of our baits from someone else as a gift, and he was throwing it, and he posted a picture on Swimbait Universe on a no-name bait, and I hit him up. I'm like, hey, that's a Hill Country. That's the original. I said, nice fish. I'll send you another one.
Gotcha.
So I sent him another one, and he fished it for a while, got some nice fish on it. And
Nice.
Damn, bro, that's a nice gift, bro. That's nice. That's an expensive gift to give somebody.
Yeah.
Like a prototype, no name.
When guys are putting up 8-9 pounders on your baits, hey, you want another one?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
It helps the company. It does.
Yeah, for sure. Same thing, man. Back when I was starting my company, I did a lot of sponsorships to get my name out there because I was hustling, like you said. So that guy Johnny Ellis, he's just a guy that's been doing it a minute in a different part of the country than us, and he ended up moving some baits for you out that way, and that's awesome, dude. Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up because I've seen him, I've heard him. I mean, I've seen people comment with him back and forth on Swimbait Universe online on Facebook, and like I said, his profile pictures are never him.
Yeah.
So I don't know, right? Like I don't know. Some guys just like to be on that that secrecy side. They don't like their shit online, and it is
A lot
what it
of
is.
people know it. He's got so many people sending him baits that it's like,
Yeah.
and rightfully so. He's
Gotcha.
a hammer, dude.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Nice. Yes, sir. Of course. So he got a couple baits in his hand, or he got a bait in his hand as a gift, started catching a couple of big fish with it, and then boom, you just started seeing more and more of the company grow. You got better at building. You got better at what I've noticed, man. Swim baiting is we can transition fully about swim baiting because you're a swim bait maker, man. This is awesome that we're finally having somebody on that does this, as a means of income and makes a damn good bait doing it. Like what? Man, I lost my train of thought there. What was the driving factor, I guess, that you were like, hey, I'm gonna continue to get better as a bait maker?
Man, because obviously I fish my own baits, so the better the baits are, the
more productive you're gonna be as an angler.
Yeah, for
Nice.
sure.
Nice.
Not only that, it's super rewarding when you see a guy that messages you out of nowhere, like, hey, dude, this Mini Glide is freaking ridiculous. I just caught a 10-2.
Nice.
And it's like, okay, yeah, it's worth it. It's really not about the money.
Oh, no.
It helps, but at the same time, it's you're getting to know people and you're learning something from every single person you come in contact with.
Nice. Oh yeah, it's always like you always want to be an open book. You never want to stop learning, especially about bass fishing, because times have changed, things change, techniques change, baits change, forage changes, you know, so on and so forth. So that's awesome, man. And I like the way you said that, man. You fish your own bait, so you want a high quality product because you yourself have a selfish interest in I want to catch big fish, and that's a great like driving factor as to why the company is as successful as it is.
Absolutely. I had a bunch of other people's baits when I first started making baits because I got that swim bait bug, and you know, you just start. Let me get that bait. Let me get that bait. Let me see what this does. And so I had a bunch of them, and when I really got serious, I sold them all.
Nice.
Sold them all. Okay. Well, now you got to make a good one.
Nice, dude. That's fucking awesome. That's cool.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah, right. Like,
this is what you're gonna fish,
right? Who are you to expect people to buy your baits if you're fucking throwing a Debs 250,
right?
Or you're throwing a Hinkle shad, or you're throwing a whatever, a throwback or whatever. You know, not to throw any shade on any company. It's just like, dude, you're a bait maker. You have to throw your baits, right? And your baits exclusively. That's super cool. So, me and my personal journey with kayak fishing, we've had run-ins in the past, like I said, online, social media, Facebook, Instagram, out in Texas, you know, in life. And when did so you, Cody, and you said who are all employed with the company essentially? It's you,
my dad, and Cody.
Cody, gotcha. And go give a breakdown on like who does what for the company, this out of the other, you know, if you can, just so people know the faces behind Hill Country Swim Baits.
So I mostly make baits and design. I do all the design work and all the, I guess, I don't know what you call them. I'm trying to think of the word, but the mixes, all the mixes I do.
For like the resin and the material and the epoxy.
All that stuff.
Gotcha.
And basically Cody and my dad, they'll build. They'll build some baits. Cody does a lot of social media work for us.
Okay.
My dad mostly does the financial stuff.
Nice. Cool. So you've got
very thankful for that.
you've got like the main triangle of a business, right? You've got the business. I know Roland's got a question in a second. You've got the social media marketing side, and then actually doing the nitty gritty and building baits. So what was your question?
All three of them are super important.
Yes, sir.
My thing was like, what essentially gave you like, you know, that blueprint to like combine everything, you know, like, did you watch like a YouTube video, like try to like, you know, educate yourself on like different types of like resins, like, you know, like figure out the molds? Like how did you come about to where you're at now?
So a lot of it, I watched a lot of Solar Fall. Obviously, have you heard of him?
No, sir. We are ignorant to swim bait. That's why I'm excited to have you on.
I know he's out of country. He's in Canada now, actually, but his carving was what brought me to him because he's a machine.
Gotcha.
He can make a piece of wood look like it came off a CNC machine.
Gotcha.
So I was watching a lot of his videos and just a lot of tips and tricks of carving and stuff like that. And then just the basics of molds and stuff like that. But everything else was trial and error for me.
Nice.
A lot of trial and error.
What would you say is like a average? How many hours goes into, let's
Each
say,
bait,
so your second bait, right? First one, we call it the penis 4-piece super diver. This first mini glide, how many hours would you say went into designing this?
Just carving that, I want to say there's probably 12 hours into just carving it and thinking about it, then carving, then thinking about it some more. Once it's carved and you mold it, I actually mold it like just like this, so I can play with different cuts and different ways to make it what it is. So,
and all of your baits now are full resin, correct?
Yeah,
gotcha. And what's the method behind that madness? So you have the artist perspective of it, right? You got really into watching a guy that you educated us on that can basically make a product that looks like a computer did it, and a robot built it, designed it, and so that's one aspect of swim bait culture, is being the artist behind the design. And then what about the material that makes the bait? Because then that's going to affect everything, right? The weight, the quality of swim, the longevity, etc.
So you got your resin, you got your micro balloons. So more buoyancy, you add more micro balloons. Less buoyancy,
What are
more
microballoons?
resin.
Yeah, what are microballoons?
Microballoons are what helps it float.
Gotcha.
So if you just pour straight resin, it'll sink like a rock.
Like a super fast fall rate that nobody would be interested in.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So,
and how do you play with the micro balloons?
Dude, so many different trial and errors.
And what do they look like? Are they
Is it like
literally
liquid? Is it a ball?
Yeah, dude, it looks like just white powder. It looked like cocaine.
Gotcha. Like so, it's got the. That's
Dude, there's no other way to describe it.
Hey, as soon as you said that, I'm like, I can relate.
hey, he just.
I know exactly what you're talking about here.
With the cook.
Yeah.
Like, so you just like okay, so a gram of this into the resin, and then you see how it floats, or how does that work?
Pretty much. You just trial and error.
Gotcha.
You might go through 100 different mixes. So and you start to know once you're getting close what you have to do.
And then from there, you just always start with like okay.
But do you
3
like
grams.
weigh it out though? Like,
Yeah, like how did you?
Yeah, so
So you have a scale and you like weigh out the powder.
you have
Okay.
a scale.
Yeah. I'm
But, dude, if you walked in my house and looked at all of my materials, you thought I was a drug dealer.
And you saw residue on the.
exactly.
Breaking Bad.
Hey, he's in his underwear. What the hell's going on here, boy?
Yellow rubber gloves.
Hey, huh? No, this is a legitimate business. so like, is there like an amount that you're like, hey, I know 4 grams of micro balloons keeps it at the top, and that's my baseline.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
then I weight it from there.
There's that way. I mean, every bait's different. Glide's going to be a different mix, and even like, let's say this glide versus this glide, they're completely opposite mixes.
Gotcha.
So size, profile, everything has to do with it.
So the design setup for a swim bait is you sit with a piece of wood and you carve it out. One of my buddies, Travis, I know you may have heard of him. He does it with clay too sometimes. Like he'll make plastics with clay.
Yep.
So what's the benefit of? I'm assuming with this, it's a little easier to whittle down for a swim bait.
Yeah.
And clay is more for like a plastic mold, like to start out.
I mean, you can do it either way.
Either way?
There's so many different ways to skin a cat.
Gotcha.
typically.
Gotcha.
But
You've chosen this way because it works for you.
it works for me.
Gotcha.
So clay, dude, clay doesn't work for me.
Gotcha.
I'm not very good with clay.
Yeah,
but
people are good with different materials with their
Exactly.
hands. And what type of tools are you using when you're carving these things out?
honestly, I'm kind of ghetto when it comes to carving, but I use a utility knife.
Nice.
So it works for me, and I've used, professional carving stuff, and it just doesn't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So it's basically whatever you're comfortable carving with.
Nice.
So
So-
that and a lot of sandpaper.
So
A lot of sandpaper.
all in all, like, how much would you say of an investment you ended up like? If you don't mind me asking, like, how much did you invest? Like, was it like $100 to like have like your first setup going?
Man, I'd have to look at that.
Because like you just said right there, I don't use like carve like professional carving tools. I use literally just a knife to cut all this. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming you invested like the big money into some of these tools. You're like, man, this shit don't even fucking work for me. Like
Yeah, I wouldn't say not too much money wasted in carving materials,
Yeah.
but just like figuring out tails, stuff like that. I've gone through 2 or 3 tail materials, and
Yeah.
I'm finally set on this because I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And when you put it in your tackle box, it doesn't freaking bend like this.
Yes.
yeah, it's bro.
Like a brush tail.
Yes, yes, dude. There's like I said, so many questions. I'm glad we had it's an unfortunate malfunction, but I like it now because then I just want to transition this into baits because
Yeah.
I'm a nerd with this. I want to learn.
Yeah.
So you got the micro balloons, you've got the resin, you've got different artistic styles. What about the eyes? What do you do with the eyes? Like you have like an eye guy that you like you just buy on eBay. What's up with that?
I actually buy them on Etsy.
Nice.
So
Nice. No,
these-
this is a sick eye, dude. This black eye.
Yeah, so it's basically that same eye, just painted black.
Yeah,
And
I
this-
like
cleared
this
over.
because every time I lose an eye, I just black it out with the Sharpie.
Hey, and this is like another thing like I want to like say is just a lot of people don't realize how much time and work and effort are put into these baits for you to come up with the prices. Like, what I'm saying? Some people say, oh, some baits are too expensive, but like people don't understand. Like you just said earlier, you put 12 hours into one, just like,
That's just the
beginning.
carving.
But that's
Yeah,
just
that's
the
just the
design.
carving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's not
exactly.
the building, the
Yeah.
painting.
And roughly you're launching like what, like maybe like 80, 90 baits per drop,
I would say probably around 50.
50? Okay.
50.
Oh,
But
it's the ballpark.
we're trying to drop twice a month.
Yeah.
Right now
That's
we're
a lot, bro. That's a lot of time.
it's a lot of work, man. Especially with 2 kids that are
Yeah, no, I
Running
can
around.
100% understand. So like that's like why I'm asking, like essentially saying this is because like the price that you guys are putting it is like a legitimate fair price, you know, from what I'm getting out of all this, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And still, you know, we're still a young business. As you know, as a business owner, it takes a good amount of time to start making a good profit.
Oh yeah,
No,
oh yeah,
100%, man,
yeah.
100%.
A lot of people are like, oh well, yeah, you're booked out now for 2-3 months. Like, yeah, bro, but yeah, you every overnight success story has the 10 years that you didn't see, and that never hit. I always heard it, right? Being in business, self-employed forever. I always heard. We finally reached year 10, and then it's like, okay, I get it. Now everybody's like, oh, the shop. You got people are coming from all over the fucking state to leave shit with you. It's like, you know, oh, must be nice. Like, yeah, motherfucker.
I earned it.
Yeah, I was been doing this for 10 years, dude. I used to spray paint on my balcony, you know, and in an apartment. Right now, I have a shop. Now I have it's completely. So you get it. But yeah, man, this is just awesome, dude. So you go from the multi-joint to the glide to, and I know another big thing is the paint. Who paints? Who does the painting?
So Peyton Stump is who paints for us.
Okay. And what do you do there? You send him out to him in bulk? Is he local?
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah, so he actually lives on Table Rock Lake in Missouri.
Okay.
But yeah, I send him to him. Basically just the bait and the eyes in the bag. And he'll paint them. He'll put the eyes in, then clear them.
Nice.
So he clears over the eyes, which I don't know. Have you ever had any eyes missing from one of our baits?
I don't think so. No. I mean, I fish them hard.
From other people's baits, yes.
Yeah. No, but
So
yours, no.
That was a big thing when we first started. We had just eyes coming out left and right. And I don't know about you, but that drives me insane.
Yeah.
100%, man.
So-
yeah, it does.
It drives me nuts. So we actually, these are safety eyes from teddy bears.
Gotcha.
So yeah, they have a nice spot for them, and then there's a little like tab on the inside. We cut off the tab. It's still got a little bit of a tab there, but that glue just seems to hold on to it better.
Because it has like a little tab to hold on to versus being flush.
That and all eyes are getting cleared over.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So this is like a Etsy teddy bear
Yeah,
eyeball. is what
pretty
you're
much.
saying. Nice. And with the clear coat over, just adding that extra seal, it just helps out. So there's an aspect of the business I didn't even think about. So you, your father, and then Cody, you're doing the designing, you're doing the carving, you're sitting there late nights with a shop light on, working and whittling on a piece of wood. And then once you find a design you like, a sink rate you like, how do you get? Or next we talk about the sink rates. Like, where do you find that at? How do you tune that? What do you do with that?
Wait. A
Just
lot
lead?
of drilling and filling and sanding
And what do you fill that with? You just filling it with lead? I'm not asking for any trade secrets here,
Reds.
but you're just drilling holes,
Leads.
lead weights,
Yep.
then epoxying over it, sanding it down so
I
it's
actually
flush.
just fill it back in with resin.
Oh, nice.
But a lot of that's how we used to. So we added a bunch of weight after we poured. Now it's all incorporated in the mold.
Gotcha. And then what are some sink rates that you shoot for different style baits? Because I know every bait's different, every builder's different. So a floater's obviously floating. What is something that's what sink rate do you consider as a builder is slow sink?
A slow sink. So everyone wants their glide. I feel like everybody wants their glide like a super slow sink. And I think eventually we're going to add a little port in the bottom and have this pin be accessible so we can take it out and you can add some weight, but I'm going to make them all like super, super slow. Then if you want to fish deep, let's say the live scope guys want to fish down 15 feet. I could stick some lead in there and get down there.
Nice.
A little bit
So
quicker.
you were even thinking of innovating with an adjustable bait on the fly in the future. That's awesome. It's like a little tidbit of possible new hill country swim bait tech coming out.
And you could always use lead tape and stuff like that, but
Yeah. It's just better. It's better to do it the right way. And then, so slow sink, you want it what? Just super, super slow. What do you consider like a fast sink then?
a fast sink, I would say, man, it's tough to say because I don't really go by seconds or anything. I do it all by feel.
Gotcha.
So I have a bait tank in my backyard that I test every single bait in.
Gotcha. And you just throw it, you check the fall rate, and you're like, okay, cool, that's a fast sink.
Yep.
You know, whether it's, you know, a foot a second or what. Again, I don't think it's that fast. I'm just saying whatever it is.
Yeah, I'd say fast sink for me would be like a foot every 2 seconds.
Gotcha. Yeah, that would be pretty quick. You'd have to work that quick or else you'd be hung up on bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, so but you say that the majority of your customers and the people and just the baits that have been, you know, bit and work are about a slow to maybe a little bit quicker than slow sink rate. You're not looking at anything fast, medium, just more of a slow, nice, long glide to stay in the strike zone.
Yep.
Nice. Then what about my biggest thing, man, as a guy who throws baits? I love throwing your baits. I've had a lot of success throwing your baits. I personally like the first bait I ever saw with it, which I know that now you incorporated into all of your baits, is the swivel eyelets, man. I remember the first bait I ever threw. I used to throw a lot of a guy's baits called fish hunt lures. I don't even think he does it anymore. It was a guy out of like Alabama.
I remember.
He just gave us a couple baits as like, you know, hey man, those guys are sticks. Let me throw them. And he had a big 10-inch bait called the Bonehead, and it had a mean glide, dude. It'd glide bigger than the depths. And I was like, hey, let me throw that. But my big thing with him is he didn't have the spinning swivels or the spinning eyelets. So like anytime you'd have a big fish get just real thrashy and lock it up, that the weight of the bait and not having this, you know, swivel, this 360 swivel, that bait would be a lot more susceptible to flying out. So when did you, the first bait I ever saw with that I've only been swim baiting since 2016. I don't want to say like, oh, they were the guys that did it, but what I remember seeing triple trout. The triple trout have the swivel, and I just remember being like, that's, you know, that's cool. All the other swim baits I had stationary eyelets. Yeah. So when did y'all start incorporating that?
Man, that was pretty early on. I would say like a year and a half into making baits, but I've dumped a few pretty good fish over the fact that they weren't swiveled hook hangers.
Oh yeah, me too. Same.
It's heartbreaking.
Probably my PB I lost on a Bonehead on the Blood Moon out on Placid when it was full. And I was just gliding that 10-inch glide on by a giant log, and the whole bait just disappeared. And I was like, holy fuck, that was a 10-inch bait. It's gone. Almost the same as the one when I stuck that big one on yours. I was like, bro, that bait is gone. That was gone.
I couldn't believe that, man.
And it jumped, and then I tried to net it, and it was so fat and wide, and I had one of those shitty trout nets at the time. It wouldn't fold. So it folded, like it stayed stiff over. And then it did one more jump and spit the bait because it had the stationary eyelets, and I was like, holy fuck, that was like an 11.5.
And it's
like
heartbreaking. You still dream about it, I guess.
Yeah, oh yeah. And Manny had ended up catching like a 26 the same day on a different section of that river that we were like, hey, it's a blood moon. It's supposed to be like this thing.
It's double digit, isn't it?
No, this should have been a double digit, but it was like a 9.7. It was like a 26 that was flat. And he was just like, I was like, dude, I just missed the biggest fish of my life. And then later he was like, oh, dude, I caught a fucking 26 you got. So I left Placid. I met him at Dunlap. Like, dude, it was crazy. We had planned it out. Again, Manny and I, dude, he's, again, like you were mentioning earlier, a guy along with Travis and now along with Roland that you tell him we're doing 10 miles and it's going to be some shit, but there's big fish. Dude, I don't give a fuck
what time
about it, right? What time we get in there? You know, just tell me now. So
I just gotta get permission from the wifey. He'll be there.
Right. We just gotta get our hall passes signed nowadays. Right. But dude, that's fucking awesome, man. So now, you know, we're several years back out from how many years has the business been a thing?
I want to say 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah,
sweet.
Just this spring, I want to say it was 3 years.
3 years, nice. And then I know that Manny, I think, had his hands on one of these originals. I don't remember where exactly he got it from, if it was secondhand, if he bought it from y'all.
He picked it up from my house.
Nice. So again, he had, again, I remember that he had first, because we had all, like I said, had run-ins in the past, just, hey, you know, they fish, we fish. We were kayak fishing on Facebook groups, etc. And I remember him saying, yeah, this guy Hill Country gave me a bait, blah, blah, blah. I was, you know, still getting into swim baiting. I think I had a lot of the fish hunt stuff. And then I think my favorite swim bait to this day, yours are catching up quickly, but I do like a good multi-joint, and I need to get a multi-joint from you, is I love the Strong Shad from Matt Lures. Like that place will always have, I'll always have a special place in my heart because it looks so fucking real. It gets big, and I just bought it on a whim and had so much success on it that I have to have like 3 in case I lose one.
You know who else is a hammer on that thing? Who? Jacob Andry.
Oh yeah,
he loves that bait too,
dude. I love the
great bait.
I love the bait. I love, like, it's either now, obviously, when I go out, I have one of your baits tied on and that bait tied on because dude, it's so realistic, and I just. Again, I haven't fished yours as long as his, but I know once I do catch up to the same length, I'll have the same. Dude, I'd say 500, 600, 700 pounds of bass on that one lure because it
bet.
just works. It like 5, 6s, love it.
Yeah.
And dude, so anyways, and then now when we first started linking up, as far as like me trying to do some promotion for you and, you know, just wanting to help somebody, because whenever I found out that you were local, for whatever reason, I didn't know where you were located, right? I knew Cody. I think I talked to Cody more than I'd ever talked to you. And I didn't know, and I know Cody you said he's in Kerrville, right?
Yeah.
And I know while that's close, that's also far, right?
Yeah.
And we have the mutual friend of Eric Solero out there in Kerrville. So, you know, again, I assumed you were somewhere up there, north, you know, north of me, maybe Bernie, maybe higher than that, maybe Llano, who knows,
I
right?
thought you were in Bernie.
Gotcha. No, so when I found out you're 15 minutes from my house, I was like, oh, dude, I gotta link up with Mike, man. I gotta get some baits. And the first bait you actually told me to go out there and chunk was your latest revision of the mini glide. I took it out on Super Bowl Sunday. Maybe we can roll some clips in the pod of this, since we kind of got to make up for the lost time we had with the malfunction. Is I stuck 2 6.7s like back to back within 300 yards on your bait. It was
such a sick footage too.
Yeah, first one was cast to catch on the first one was amazing. It was full, like you said, just bait gone, and I was like, bro, here we go. And the second one was just so I caught that fish maybe 100 yards from that point where I caught that 6.7 on your lure. I caught like a 20-inch smallmouth, which is awesome. So I was like, oh my God, the fuck, this is crazy. This bait's insane. Smallmouth, largemouth. You know, in the section we were fishing, there's stripers. So I was like, if I got just striper, this is all-time favorite bait. Now we didn't end up getting into one, but then another 200 yards past the smallmouth, we're coming to the end of the pool, and I've always noticed as a kayak guy on the river, they're either at the front of the pool or the back, right?
Always.
And sometimes they're in the middle, right? Bass fishing, they're opportunistic, but I've had most of my success at the front of the pool or the end of the pool. Caught that 6 at the beginning of the pool, got to the end of the pool, was already on cloud 9. Swim bait, big fish, swim bait, big smallmouth in Texas. And then I get to the end of the pool, make one last cast. Like I literally cast it like 6 inches off the bank, work the glide, and it's frigid. It was like 30 when we launched, and now it's maybe like 45, 50. We're in full waders, whole jumpsuit, keeping warm. And I'm like 2-3 feet off the bank, and I just see another one. I was like, no way. I wasn't recording. I hit the record button at the end, like I got the net, but same thing. The bait just got demolished, and I know it was because it was I think the first or the second drop of the revised like design, so those fish had never seen that bait. And that's
a beautiful thing,
and that's why they got bit so hard, because they probably seen all types of baits, all types of more commonly thrown baits that have been out for longer, and the novelty of a bait will go very far, especially on big fish that are smart. I don't think a lot of people realize that.
And it's amazing what a new bait on a same piece of water will do.
Oh yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, people don't think about the whole tricking of fish. There's a lot involved.
Yeah.
Especially a big fish, a smart fish.
Yeah, you can you can go out there and do well and catch big fish on a certain bait, but it's going to die off. Mm-hmm. It just how it goes. You got to switch it up.
Yes, sir. That's awesome. So I want to just kind of also talk a little bit more about the baits. We talked about the sink rates. You talked about the resin design, the carving. Now, what hook do you throw? Because I know some people sell their swim baits without hooks. What hooks do you like? What have you found as a builder? Sticky hooks, don't bend out, work well.
So we started out with owners, and they were a 1X hook.
Okay.
Size 1, and they were good, but the guys that, like, if you're fishing heavy grass, we're throwing braid, right? They would bend out a little bit, and if you didn't have your drag right, but you got to pull them out. So we ended up, after we got rid of our bulk pack of owners, we went to the Gammies, the Gamakatsu, and they're the 2X size 1.
I think we have those right there, the stingers. Is that the ones you
owners?
Throw? Oh, that's the owners. Yes, okay.
These are the Gamakatsus.
Gotcha.
But I really like it. I like the difference.
And that's going to be like this. Yep. This is going to be your newest Gamu.
Let me see it.
Yeah. I'll let you take it off. I ain't trying to stab myself.
It's a pain.
Yeah. I know you've done it 100,000 times.
Last week I put one through my hand.
Oh, goodness.
It happens all the time.
What were you going to say?
No, it's a good thing you brought up the hook, because remember Manny was getting blamed.
These are the differences.
Nice.
Manny was getting blamed for that fishing lure because he put oversized hook on it.
Oh yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he was giving him shit about it. Nice, man. So you found that the Gamakatsu, what's the like full name on it? Do you know off the top of your head?
I'll have to look.
Gotcha. But it's one of the
Gamakatsu round bends.
Gotcha. And that's just been, you know, for the amount that you need, for the amount of baits that you sell, you found that that's been a good bait that you've had success, or a good hook that you've had success with keeping them pinned.
100%.
Nice. My thing is, and it's just hard to get them because you got to like special order them. I love the quads.
Yeah.
On my strong chat, I will only throw quads because, dude, a quad will not let go. Nope. But they're like special order. I don't know if you can order them in bulk.
All right. And
Gotcha.
Then you get it in your net and you're cussing out your net.
Oh yeah.
Or
Right.
you hook it onto your pants,
Yeah.
or foot, or shoe.
The one pair of quads that I actually have that I keep on my like rotation mat lure is that one's actually gone through my thumb. We were fishing a section of the quad back in the day, and it was actually in my, you know, reel seat, and I was paddling, like back pedaling in a rapid, and I caught myself, and obviously I'm like using full force to transition into a rapid, and it just, the point broke through my thumb, and I had to get through the rapid with my hook in the lure, and I got to the bottom, and I was like, Travis, I need some help, big dog. Like, I need you to take the hook off of the eye. Here's my lock pliers. He took it off, and he was like, bro, what are you going to do? So I'm just going to fucking pull it out. Like, what are we going to do? We're 4 miles into a 7-mile float, dude. I can't. And I just pulled it out, and I was like, thank goodness it came out. But that was, if the barb had gone through the nail, that would have been fucking terrible. The barb was still under the nail. That was the only reason why I was able to go out.
That's a bad one.
Yeah, because I would have had to, if it was like breaching, I would have had to probably shove it through and then hope that
I've had to do that.
I could just hold it there until I could go to get some pliers to cut the barb off. But yeah, it was a sticky situation to say the least.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Nope. But it's gonna happen. It's part of it, just like flipping in your boat. You got to be prepared. It's not if, it's when. So cool, man. So you've basically gone through, you know, the full design on them, the company behind them. You, like I was mentioning earlier, you've got that very important triangle of a business. You've got the marketing side of it, which Cody runs. You've got the building, the designing, and like basically creating something out of nothing part. You do that, and then your father does the financials of it. And that's obviously just living in the land of taxes and BS. You got to be smart on that. Right. So that's cool, man. I've been fascinated with swim bait builders because, and again, I know it takes a certain level of skills and a certain level of time frame to get there, but you sell a bait for $200 and you make 100 of them, that's $20,000 right there. And I know that there's obviously, you know, 10 to 15 of investment, especially until you start getting to a point where you can crank them out. But it always blows my mind that somebody can get to a point with a handcrafted lure to where they're able to sell out in 5 to 10 minutes. You know?
Yeah, it's nuts. I
was going to ask you, every time you drop, like, how long does it usually take you to sell out?
It all depends on what we have out there, what the patterns are and stuff like that. We've gone a couple hours. We've gone 7 minutes. We've gone 35 minutes.
50 in 7 minutes. It's a lot, bro.
Yeah, it happens, man.
It
all depends. I mean, it's all, social media is a crazy animal. So you get one guy that catches a 10-pounder.
Yeah.
Your next drop, you can kiss him goodbye.
Jesus.
So it's, dude, that kind of advertising that you can't buy that kind of advertising.
No, 100%. It's experience. And like, my thing is, did you feel like a sense of accomplishment when you did sell out, like in those few minutes? Like,
yeah, absolutely. It's super exciting. And then you'll have the next drop and you're going on 2 hours. You're like, did I piss somebody off? You know what I mean? But it's
there's a lot of variables.
There's so many hype buyers too.
Yeah, and we like to talk shit about high buyers, right? Just because we throw baits because they get bit, right? Yeah. That's the thing. That's why your swim baits are now part of my rotation. Is that, do they get bit? They get bit. I mean,
they gotta get bit.
They gotta get bit, right? Right? Like you said, you have a selfish investment in him. Like, dude, I can't throw any other baits. I am the bait maker, so they gotta get bit, right? Because I like fishing. That's
partially why we don't put them in like a pretty box too.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting wrapped in bubble wrap with hook guards on it. So you go and you tie it on.
Yeah, so you appreciate the guy who throws it, not the guy who sits on it to resell.
Yeah, and you know what? There's no it's America. You're free to
Yeah,
do what
yeah.
you want.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
At the same time, I'd rather see it fished.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I hate seeing brand new, never thrown, and you knew that guy bought that like a year ago.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you spend $150 on something that just sat on the wall?
It
doesn't make any sense.
It couldn't,
to me,
dude. It couldn't be me. I hear you there, but that's awesome, man. And like you mentioned, so I was making sure I had a customer that was needing to drop something off, but I was overhearing you talking about social media being a monster. That's what I love, man. I love that, you know, being a business owner myself, just helping out with the shop here, you know, growing our little podcast with him. We've all kind of learned that social media is the, you know, the gatekeep breaker of the 21st century, where we don't have to pay $20,000 for like a, you know, commercial to drop. With good content and good platform and the right timing and a little bit of luck, your shit could blow up, right? And we love that. I know that I'm glad I've been able to help you as, you know, a builder to, you know, push baits. I hope that, you know, you're happy with it. I hope that, you know, I'm going to continue to fish with them. We'll talk about the other bait that, you know, you'd told me to get out there and get on some fish with. The day after we shot Manny B's podcast, I went up to where he lives because we don't have fucking water down here at all. And I was like, dude, you're throwing big baits at a big lake that has big fish. I'm taking because I've taken your bait to Ivy and then this lake. And Ivy, I think I caught like a 4.5 or 5. I tagged y'all when I did. In the water, it looked beautiful. That Texas shad looks fucking sick, right? And when we went out the other day after we shot that podcast, I went out there a little earlier than him because he still had to work his normal job during the day and met me later on the lake at 3. Around 1:30, I was just fishing docks, like I was throwing the burrito nacho because we had just got him in. Yeah. And I could really skip that motherfucker to the back of the bait, to the back of the thing. And I was like, cool, that's awesome, right? It's got a weird hook, which I still don't know if I believe in it or what. It's got a weird bend, but it's supposed to be lockjaw because the bend is like outside the bait versus the bend being in the bait. So when you, like, I'll show you them when we get done here. They're just
kind of like angled.
Yeah, and the bend is like a sharp bend like that out of the bait. So it's not in the plastic or anything. So I don't know. I hadn't even got a bite on it yet. I had one follower, but I was just at the right place at the right time, throwing the right lure. To be honest with you about this fish, it was 25.25. It was 888. Should have been a double digit for sure. But I saw a big black blob leaving a dock, and I was like, ain't no way I got set up for a perfect shot at this fish. So I unlatched, and I literally hit off on the camera because I thought it was off. So I thought I was turning it on, but I was turning it off. The video was like 7 minutes, and then I turn it off. Like you can see like a black blob in the GoPro, and then I turn it off. And the video before that was 7 minutes. So I clearly thought that the video was off. Yeah. I literally casted about 10 feet in front of her, right on the bank. So whenever she got to about where I was going to be, it was just, again, that fish IQ mindset where I knew that I wanted to place the bait right where her line of sight was. Yeah, I didn't want it to look unnatural. So I hit the bank and I brought it right to her, and she saw it and just boom, just the whole bait was gone. And I was like, oh my God, this is a fucking huge fish.
That's what it's all about.
Blah, blah, blah. You know, she jumped 3 times, and I was like, oh my God, dude, I got a fucking giant on the big bait. You know, this is going to be great for everybody. I get it in the net, hit the thing, and then I hear it turn back on. And I was like, no. And then
We've all been there.
Yeah, I FaceTime Manny, bro, fuck, look at this fish. I haven't waited. The bait was just down his gullet. I was like, dude, what the hell? Like, and it ended up being 25.25, 888, beautiful fish, had a humpback. Just her life was on the downfall for sure. She had already peaked. She had already been, she had already been at her height, and then, dude, it's been triple digits for 30 plus days. It's just insane. But she just had her summer bot on, full effect, long, lanky, and skinny. And I know I sent it to you right away, and you were like, holy shit. So, you know, I'm glad, man. The baits work. They get bit. I definitely highly suggest checking out Hill Country Swimbaits. You said you're supposed to have a drop in a couple of weekends?
Probably next weekend.
Next weekend. Okay, so we'll definitely try to get the pod out before next weekend so we can, you know, drop a link in the Spotify and on YouTube. And did you have anything to say?
No, I don't have anything to say. Maybe, I don't know if you mentioned this. How did you and like your team, how did y'all meet? I know one of them's your father, but, you know, how did all of y'all like?
How'd you convince your dad to get involved with fishing business?
I was really curious about that because if I would have told my dad like, hey, I'm starting a tackle company, or like a lure company, he would have just been like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? He's like,
it's not an easy business.
Yeah.
No, he and Cody were like trying to push me.
Yeah,
we should start this. Like, that's a great way to pay for lures and fishing rods and reels, and stuff adds up fast.
Oh yeah.
And you had mentioned that on the other cut, but like I was just trying to figure out how like all this came together because like if I would have like presented that to like my father, Albert, whatever, they're like, what the fuck, bro? Like,
right. Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean,
so you were the one
happened.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the way this podcast happened. Like, it just randomly happened. Like, I just so happened to be Albert's fucking neighbor, and everything little by little started to fall into place. So I'm assuming the same thing happened with you.
Pretty much, just from fishing with Cody, getting together, and I watched Cody on YouTube as well.
Yeah,
that Eric and you, and it's
just
like all the same style of fishing that we love.
Fishing
hill country rivers in a kayak, getting on big fish with swim baits.
And like Manny had mentioned in his pod that there was none of that online. Like there was none of that on YouTube until we did it, right? It was all lakes, rivers, big rivers, lakes, coast, etc. So yeah, it was all like-minded people getting involved. So you were the one that kind of had to be sold on the idea, is what you were saying.
Everybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But initially, Cody and your father were the ones kind of pushing it on you, like,
we
hey,
can do this, right? Let's give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? You pack it up and go home.
If you're still gonna fish,
you're still gonna continue to make baits and fish them and catch fish. So
gotcha. Is there anything, man, that you wanted to add to the pod? Like, did you have any things that we didn't get to touch base with
that you want to talk about?
Yeah, that you want to talk about your baits.
Man, I think we covered most of it.
What's the current lineup with the baits? Like what's out technically, or will it be out when you drop? Like, what are your baits? Like, what's the selection like?
Right now we have a few crank downs left, but the Quad Glide and the Medina Mini Glide are what we're doing.
Do you want to pick them up in like kind of like
yeah. There you go. So the Quad Glide and the Mini Glide are pretty much what's going to be on a drop tomorrow. We still have a few crank downs in stock, but people are mostly after the glides right now.
Gotcha. So right now you're focused heavily on 2 different size glides and 1 crank down. What are the dimensions and the information on this bad boy?
So that's an 8-inch bait, and that one I want to say it's 2.5 ounces.
Okay.
So it's either that or 275. But
gotcha. And what's the crank down on it? Like, what's the depth?
If on a long cast with the right line, you can get it down 7-8 feet.
7-8 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. And how does the bill help with getting hung up, or have you what's your preferred method of fishing this? Open water, rocks, no veg,
all of it.
All of it.
I like ripping it out of cover.
Okay.
It does really well for that, and that's how I got the 9-1.
Okay.
But I like to fish it slow. A lot of people like to burn a crank down and stuff like that. I'm the opposite. I like to slow roll it. I've gotten so many bites on slow rolling that bait. It's not even funny.
And what depth are you at slow rolling? Is it just depends on the cast length?
Man, maybe 3 feet, if that.
Gotcha. But that's still, to me, I don't think I get many bites 3 feet down, but I'm not throwing lures that get down there. So like I said, I definitely need to get one of these. But
I think that's why I fish it so slow, so it stays up a little bit more.
Gotcha. So you're saying that you're getting most of your bites on this crank down in about 3 feet of water.
On the rivers, yes.
Gotcha.
Lakes are totally different story.
Gotcha. And when was the last time you were able to get out on a river and hit one of those with crank down?
Man, it's been a while.
Really?
Yeah, my feet are pretty bad, so both my feet are broke.
Okay.
So I have feet issues every once in a while.
Gotcha. So it's just taking a toll doing the portaging right now?
Yeah. That and the low river.
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
They're so low right now. And you can go out New Braunfels area and still have water, but out in the hill country right now,
no, it's basically a creek.
You're walking to a hole.
Oh yeah, and
much.
hoping that they survived.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool, man. And then let's see. So we talked about just overall.
Do you
design.
have any projects coming? Like anything you've been working like that you haven't exactly like talked about that you've just kind of kept on the low?
So I almost always have something going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out a glide that's in between the Medina and the Quad, because to me, they're like
Two extremes.
Yeah, two extremes.
Yeah.
So you got your smallmouth, largemouth bait, and then you got your big hunting bait. So it'd be nice to have something in the middle that you can.
So you're thinking what? Like so,
wide.
one's 10 or 9 inches.
I think this is nine inches.
Okay.
This one's like 6 inches with the tail.
Okay. So you want something in that 7 to in between 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
7
Weight
and a
wise,
quarter,
what's
7 and
the
a half.
difference weight wise?
Oh, this is like 2,
Okay.
2 and a quarter, 2.5 at most, and this one's I think it's just under 4.
Gotcha.
But if not 4 ounces, you can call
Gotcha.
it 4 ounces.
What I like about your mini is that I can throw it on like conventional rods and reels.
It's
you don't
great.
have to necessarily have a dedicated swim bait rod.
That was the goal for it.
And that's another thing. Like I want to touch back on is like there's tons of people getting into fishing that don't exactly know that you need to have like an actual like swim bait rod, and I think we could probably direct them your way when it comes to that swim bait. Because you could throw it just with conventional.
You could throw it with a 150,
sure.
200 size
Yeah.
reel. You could throw it on a 7-1 medium heavy. Like you don't have to. This bait, the Guadalupe Glide, the 9 to 10 inch bait, you need a dedicated swim bait setup. You need something that can handle 4 to 5 ounces, something that's a 300 plus size reel. This, you need a swim bait setup.
Yeah, I use a 300 size reel for it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I do
You
too.
could technically go 400, but I feel like it's too heavy, especially being on the river and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. So 300, I throw it with a loose Super Duty. 300, it's like a 7 1-to-1. Decent swim rate or as far as retrieval rate. But you definitely have to have like a swim bait setup. You can't just throw that on a normal conventional tackle. But the mini you can, and the mini produces big fish. Yeah. So that's what's cool, man. You're kind of like you have that entry level bait that. And what's the MSRP on the mini?
The mini is 150 and the quad is 160.
Gotcha. Dope. So, you definitely need a big change in gear, but the price point's pretty close.
Yeah.
And that comes with everything, man. What I've found is that the big thing, the make or break thing with swim baits is, of course, swim rate, all that stuff, like catching fish ability. But also my biggest thing is paint. The clear coat on paint.
Yes.
If the clear coat is too thin, it doesn't last.
It gets destroyed, man.
It looks cheap, and then sometimes it could be too thick in places. But when you can find that right in between of looks glossy and holds its color and protective, the clears, as I've noticed, is the biggest. The way people get them cleared, and like you mentioned, you have them sent out and done by a professional.
Oh, for
guy.
sure. And
Nice.
I do the same. I have the same clear coat, but I don't have time to paint.
No, yeah, that's cool.
I'd rather make more baits and have more available and lose a little bit of money on having someone do paint.
Yeah, because inevitably you throw that into the cost of the bait at retail, and then of course it makes more sense sometimes, especially when you're dropping 50 to 100 every other month or every other week.
Yep.
Now, one thing we didn't touch base on fully, which I do want to get to, and then we'll do some closing tips with you, is the tail materials. That's important. You mentioned it a little bit. You mentioned that you were happy with where you were. What type of material is this? How'd you get this design? Is it similar to designing the bait? How'd that happen?
It's actually a urethane rubber.
Gotcha.
So it's very similar to silicone.
Okay.
So some people label it as silicone.
Okay.
But I've gone through a bunch of different brands over it, and there's nothing worse than a bent tail.
Yeah, or a discolored tail.
Yes, especially for a glide, because if a glide's tail gets bent, it's done.
100% done, because it does not have that rudder to keep it true, essentially.
And one of the things with the quad is that I made it a little bit softer, which I like, because it's already a big bait. It's already like a
it's as big as your hand. Yeah.
So, but that way, when that fish feels it, if they hit it from the back, it will bend nicely. So it feels real.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's the other thing too. I haven't mentioned this on the pod ever, which is crazy, but we don't think about it as humans, but fish don't have hands, right? So what do they feel with? They feel with their mouth. If that I've caught fish because they were basically just feeling. They were like, I don't know if you throw any lures with feathers on your hooks, but I have in the past. And that some will just react like, what is that?
Yep.
Well, let me feel that.
Yep.
But when they feel it, I got them. You know what I mean?
I've had a couple fish that'll come up, and they'll bite the back half of it, and that hook will be right here, so they don't get hooks. And that real feel for the tail will make them go to suck it the rest of the way in
Yeah.
versus just going and spitting it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think people who don't fish think about that stuff. They don't think about everything
There's
that goes
so
in,
many aspects
that goes into getting bit, especially tricking a big, old, smart fish in their prime.
Yeah.
It's not easy to trick a 10, 11, 12 pounder in their prime because they're the best of the best that they'll ever be, right? So that goes all into it, man. That's awesome. So it's more of a rubber, but it can be classified as a silicone. You found that right. I've noticed this one is a little more firm than the bigger Quad Glide.
Yeah.
But each of them look good. Like I said, you keep them in place with. What do you keep them in place with? Is it like wood?
Stainless pins.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So then maybe that's the one thing that I have noticed with my mat lures is I have lost a tail, and it did have like the toothpick style thing.
Yeah, which toothpicks, honestly, they work great because when they get in the water, they swell.
Yeah.
So they
It's
do a
just the
great
pins.
job. I prefer the pins.
Gotcha. A little bit more durability, you feel?
I rarely, like I want to say every 6 months, I maybe have someone ask me about a tail.
Gotcha.
That's it. The rest of the guys, they're getting a lot of emails. Hey, I need another tail. Hey, I ain't got time to make a bunch of replacement tails. You know what I mean? Because I'm doing.
And the tails, how exactly are those made? Like, is it again a material that you have to mix and pour?
Yeah, mix and pour.
Gotcha. And you've got a mold for each one.
Yeah.
Like
So I have 4 molds for tails.
Gotcha.
Like of each, and then when I do pour them, I actually put it in a pressure pot. Gets all the air out of them, so you won't see any air bubbles in my tails.
Nice. So there's just a whole bunch that goes on behind the method to the madness of swim bait development, creation. And then also obviously because, we had an issue come up last podcast with Manny B, the customer service aspect of it. I'm sure that
It's huge.
Yeah. I'm sure you've, like you said, every 6 months you get a guy with a broken tail. I'm sure you take care of it. No problem.
100%.
Right. Cause again, your word is everything in this, not only social media is a monster in both ways, good and bad. Yeah. So you fuck somebody over, bad.
People are going to find out.
You don't do that. And if you buy a bait from Hill Country, and this is one of the things that I was very strongly opinionated on. If you buy a bait, it leaves the next day or the following day.
Gotcha.
Never later than that.
Gotcha. Because that's another big thing with guys. Hey, man, it's been 6 weeks. Where's my bait?
You just think every time you order something, when do you want it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I want it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, and the good thing about the drops is you can plan that accordingly. Drop it on a weekend, ship it out Monday.
Yep.
But it's all the simple things that sometimes can be overlooked when people start a business or when they think that the business, some people are great at developing a bait, but the customer service side is just complete trash, and then the trash goes to the name, and the name inevitably affects sales. Regardless of how good the bait is, you may not even get it, right? So that's another big thing. Now, the last thing we do with every podcast, man, is we like to ask for a couple of tips, 2 to 3 tips on getting bit. Whether it's on the water with being, doing something in the kayak that helps you or techniques, etc. I would hope that we can maybe focus it on swim baiting as a whole. But what are 2 or 3 tips that you've noticed that you have found being a developer and a designer and basically having swim bait in the industry that people know? What have you found helps you get bit throwing your baits?
Number one, and I always say this, some of the best guys spend the most time on the water.
Okay.
It's always time on the water.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's
Always.
Through and through the best.
Yeah.
Okay. Second tip.
Yeah, that's tough to say, but being in the strike zone as long as possible.
Okay.
So if you don't know where that strike zone is, that's the first thing you got to figure out.
Gotcha. It's like trying to, be a pitcher and not know where the strike zone is, right? You got to know where these fish eat these baits.
Yep.
And that's different on every body of water at different times of the year. And that rolls over into your first tip, time on the water. If you don't fish in the fall, you're not going to learn the fall. If you don't fish in the dog days of summer, you're not going to learn the dog days of summer. So 2 great tips. And then let's see if you can do one more just on if people have questions about your baits specifically, they're having issues with fishing them. Is there any, FAQs, frequently asked questions that you get from your company side of things that you could maybe alleviate through a pod or that we could chop up into a reel?
Man, we don't get a lot of questions, but I like fishing the quads slow.
Okay.
So the biggest thing right now is everyone wants a choppable bait.
Mm-hmm.
That's not always what gets bit on a glide. So I like this quad because it's slow and methodical, and you could swim it medium too. You could chop it, but it's a big bait. It's
Gotcha.
going to have a little bit of roll to it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
This one I like to fish fast because fish you just don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Because it's a snack.
Gotcha. Exactly. I like that, and that great tip. So the bigger bait, a more slower, a more long cast, you know, keep it in that right strike zone once you find it on the body of water you're at. Slow and methodical with the big bait. The shorter bait, the smaller bait, you can fish it slow, but you can also burn it a little bit quicker.
Basically, a lot of people have their way that they fish glides every time. Mm-hmm. And you got to be open to fishing something different.
Gotcha. So that's a great tip. So open to maybe trying different tactics that you're not comfortable with, throwing different baits of different styles.
I still try and switch it up every time I go out.
Oh yeah.
Just
oh yeah.
Try something different.
And then on the crank down, any tips on that? Is that just a blow and go, or is that a, like you were saying, a long cast?
I like a long cast, and I like to swim it slow. Slow to medium. I don't really like to burn it too much, but I will fish it a little bit faster if I'm pulling it through stuff.
Gotcha. And you say that this one, you've had no big issues with getting hung up on different things because of the bill and just the way the bait swims in the water?
It'll push up on, you know, small brush and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Working salt cedars or whatever.
Okay, there you go.
It does great.
Awesome.
Well, if it does get hung up, you just yank it off.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That, or, you know, inevitably sometimes, guys, you're gonna lose them, and that happens as part of the business. Well, Mike, I appreciate you I appreciate you coming
Patience.
on.
Patience.
Your patience, right? We had the malfunction, man. I appreciate you bringing out all the baits. I appreciate you telling us a little bit about the guys behind Hill Country Swim Baits. It's cool that we have a swim bait maker that's known in the swim bait community from San Antonio.
Here locally.
Man. That's awesome. That's super cool. Hopefully we can get you in touch with the owner of this place, Samuel, get some of your baits hung up on the wall. And
for sure. Again,
I mean, I push them, you know that. I'm always going to, rock the swim baits that you make because, dude, they're getting bit, right? And, man, I appreciate you coming on, dude.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.